All right, well, we're going to get started. Like Julie said, my name is Sandy Lacourte. I am a meteorologist at the National Weather Service. I'm located here on the East Coast in Wilmington, North Carolina, and just thank you all for your time tonight. So we'll get started. I always like to start off with this picture. It is, some of you might recognize it, it's the TIV from the Discovery Channel show Storm Chasers. This was actually at a conference that I had attended, and it was there, so I figured I would take my picture with it. And let's see. So a lot of people always ask me how I became interested in meteorology, and I think it would be safe to say that a lot of people I know that are meteorologists probably have known since they were little that it's what they wanted to be, but my story is actually a little bit different. You'll see some bullets there, and there's a nice picture of Hurricane Hugo from back in 1989, and I guess I'll show my age. I was 3 years old when Hurricane Hugo came through Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where I was living. And, you know, my parents tell me back then I was extremely fascinated by the storm. They couldn't get me away from the window. But actually, when I was 6 years old, we had moved into a much older home, and that night there was actually a tornado warning for where we were. It was about 30 miles north of Charlotte. And as you can see from this second bullet, from the age of 6 to 15, I had actually developed something called astrophobia, which is a fear of thunder and lightning. And it was really bad. I would have extreme anxiety attacks. Even when, you know, there was a thunderstorm in school, my teachers told me that, you know, I would run to the library to hide. But we had talked to doctors, and they had just said, you know, start to learn about it, learn about how the atmosphere works. And before I knew it, my fear had become my passion. And I like to think it's a pretty cool story. So this was probably in high school when I had to start thinking about what I wanted to be. And all I could really think of was to be a meteorologist. So just moving on to education and experience. At the time, I wanted to stay in-state, and there were only a few schools that offered meteorology. Actually ended up attending the University of North Carolina in Asheville. There I did earn my bachelor's degree in atmospheric sciences, and I also earned a math minor. And then when it came time to graduate, you know, did I go straight into the work field? It was a little confusing. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I decided that I wanted to further my education. So I'd applied to a few graduate schools, and you know, just looking at what all had to offer, I was really set on going to Alabama. The University of Alabama in Huntsville had a great program, and I was really excited about it. So I did end up going there, and I earned my master's of science degree in atmospheric science in 2011. In addition to education, throughout my college years, I also gained a lot of field experience, which was really exciting. 2007 and 2008, during the summers, I actually joined a group from Virginia Tech and went on some storm chase trips with them. I was the radar operator both years. And then also I went on a Vortex 2 trip, which was a funded science experiment where they were trying to learn more about tornadoes and tornado genesis. And that's with the picture on the right. That was actually one of our research vehicles from UA Huntsville, and I got to drive it around on our storm chase trip. So that was pretty exciting. And I noticed I forgot to mention at the bottom, I did put an asterisk of the type of classes that you take as a meteorologist. You know, when I do career talks and talk with students who want to be meteorologists, they always ask, well, well, what kind of classes do you need to take? So I always tell them, there's a lot of physics, calculus, computer programming, and but it's really exciting stuff. So getting into my work history, the National Weather Service was something I was introduced to back in 2007. Between my junior and senior year of college, I attended a volunteer program at the Greenville-Spartanburg, South Carolina office, and it was one of those things that I realized that's what I wanted to do. So a great opportunity arose when I was in graduate school in Alabama. They also had office, National Weather Service office there, co-located with the university. And I had applied for a program which was it was called the Student Career Experience Program. I was known as a SCEP student. Essentially, I had the opportunity to work at the National Weather Service and finish up my graduate school. In 2011 from Huntsville, or UA Huntsville, and only a few weeks later I was offered a job at the Wilmington, North Carolina office, and I've been here since April of 2011. And I will say that picture on the right is from a tornado outbreak event that I was working while in Huntsville. It's just an action shot. I really love that picture. I just wanted to go over quickly what the National Weather Service is. I think a lot of people just don't fully understand, or they think, oh, it's just the agency that issues warnings. But here's a map. Each color represents a different weather forecasting office. We have about 123 offices and approximately 4,800 employees. In addition to the forecast offices, we also have river centers where their main focus is on river forecasting. And also we have special centers such as the Storm Prediction Center, which is out in Norman, Oklahoma, and the National Hurricane Center, which is down in Miami, Florida. With the National Weather Service, we're responsible for issuing warnings, which you may know when they scroll across the bottom of your TV screen and it says, the National Weather Service has issued a warning. That's us. And aside from warnings, we issue forecasts, different public weather services that, we have an array of clients that, get this information. Our operations, I wanted to put this in here. Our products not only impact the public, but whatever information that we send out, emergency responders, law enforcement, school systems, if we're a coastal office, fishermen and boaters, tourist people that may be visiting the area, even down to sporting events, insurance companies. Big thing with insurance companies, if there's a severe thunderstorm that produces hail and it breaks someone's windows, or it messes up someone's roof, then they're going to call us and see if it actually happened. So there's a lot of things that we do that impact other people. This is just an interesting slide. A lot of people know the typical severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning, hurricane warning that we issue, but this is an array of different warnings that we issue, from avalanche warnings. Now we don't have to worry about that here in the coastal Carolinas, but also tsunami warnings, volcano warnings. Some of you may be looking at extreme cold. So that's just a list of different ones that we issue. So everyone always asks me what it's like to be a meteorologist. You know, there's the different jokes out there, but I absolutely love my job. Um, the main thing is we get to forecast the weather. It seems like a challenge each day. It's, you know, it's trying to solve a problem, and so it's just really fun. The top picture, actually, the top left picture, that is when I was working Hurricane Irene, which hit the coastal office, or just swept right by us actually last year. Another great thing about being a weather service meteorologist is we get to do outreach. Um, we get to go talk to students, children, college students about not only weather and severe weather preparedness and winter weather preparedness and how to keep safe, but also, you know, if they're really interested in becoming a meteorologist, what they can do. Also, we do spotter trainings. We actually train the public to let us know if there's severe weather going on, which is really important to our operations. And so that's just a few things with outreach. Research is one big thing that I really enjoy. When I was doing my master's degree, I actually was looking towards trying to create a new forecasting tool for tornadoes. And it hadn't really been done before the way I was going about it. But it was just awesome to see that something that hadn't really been tapped into before we're starting to be looked at. But every day, you know, meteorologists around the country, whether they're in the weather service or if they're, you know, at universities doing research, it's just there's something new coming out every day. With that continued education, as a weather service meteorologist, we're constantly doing training that's coming out. So, you know, and every day is a learning experience. So the learning doesn't just stop in the classroom. The great thing is conferences, the National Weather Association, and other conferences that are held, and you just get to network and meet people. On the right, I mean, I just chose two pictures that people would possibly recognize. In the top right is Jim Cantori, and on the bottom right is Reed Timmer. You know, it doesn't matter if we're at the Weather Service or on TV. You know, it's a huge weather network, and it's really exciting to just be a part of it. And I will have to claim the fame that all those pictures I did take or I was in, so I'm pretty proud of that tornado picture that I have in the bottom left. This is one thing that I like to stress to students when I'm talking to them about if they want to become a meteorologist. Once you go through college, you know, no one says you have to go to graduate school. No one says you have to go directly into a job. You have to do what's best for you. I chose the graduate school route, and I couldn't be more excited that that's what I chose. You know, aside from graduate school, there's, if you go directly into the job, that's great. There's also internships out there. You know, if it just doesn't look like there's any jobs open right now, I always encourage students to at least take part in an internship, because that way, even that time that they are waiting for a job, they're gaining experience. And a lot of businesses and other locations, such as the private sector or TV stations, they really like to see that. They want to see that you're working hard towards something you really want. And then again, if there's no internships, you can always volunteer. You know, that's what I did. It's just, you need to get the experience, and I always want to stress that that's really important. One thing I like to point out is there's a lot of concentrations within meteorology. I love the aspect of severe weather. You know, others will love more of the atmospheric chemistry, winter weather. But there's also other ways that you can be meteorologist through, you know, if you're an emergency manager, if you're in the military. One really cool thing that a lot of people don't know about is being a forensic meteorologist. That's where you're actually, you know, working on a possible case in a courtroom, and you're having to defend if what the weather was that day to see, you know, who's possibly at fault. So there's just a great background, a great choice of different concentrations that are available to you as a meteorologist.
Just as a reminder, Gerard, we also at the program office have the GHCN data.
And with that, I just want to thank you all for letting me be here, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
On our website, so if you go to Explore Science,
technically, no.